Hello, good day. You are welcome to another tutorial video. In this particular video, I will be exposing and explaining the um impacts of core courses and elective courses. Most especially, we want to deal with clearing the confusion that has always been on students' minds concerning elective courses, most especially those students that usually have 5 electives, 4 electives in some semesters. And there is this confusion, am I to register 3, am I to register 2? So let's do a very short calculation. So I'm going to be using the student portal. I believe my screen is visible. So let's go to my courses. I want you to know something very importantly, that you have a minimum credit unit expected of you throughout your study years. That means the 8 semesters you have, there is a minimum credit unit you are expected to cover before you graduate, before you be qualified for graduation. And for most courses or most programs that we have, that minimum is 120. You may log in your portal to check your minimum graduation credit requirements. You use your e-ticket portal where you check your statement of results. You will see it live there. If yours is showing 144, that means the minimum your program is expecting you to cover before graduation is 144 units. How do we come about, or how do we get this 120 units or 144 units? Now let's go to see all registrable courses on our portal. We want to see how to arrive at the 120 units or 144 units or 148 units, whatever your statement of result is showing as the minimum credit units for your program. What do you need to do in order to meet up that minimum requirement? Or how do you get to that 120? What are they adding up to get to that 120? Those are the things we want to expose. And what role is elective course or courses taken in you getting to your minimum credit unit required for graduation? So those are the things we are going to talk about. I just hope this network will allow us. So let's wait for this my screen to come up. We'll be checking some things there and we'll be doing some calculations to, show the validity of our claim. So now this is for a student studying BSc Information Technology. Now it doesn't have to be a student studying BSc. Any program at all you are studying, this logic I want to review to you, excuse me, will still work for your program too. So no matter what you are studying, use the same method to calculate and see how many electives you are likely going to need in order to complete your program and meet up the minimum requirement in most cases, which is 120. So assuming this is my program, I'm expected to have minimum of 120 credit units at the end of my program before I will be due for graduation. What are those credit units we are talking about? Look at the credit unit here. When you log in your portal, click on see all registrable courses. You see all the courses you are going to do throughout your program here. Yes. So throughout the 8 semesters you have, these are the courses you will do. Fine. and your student statement of result is stating that you must at least get to 120 credit units before you are due or eligible for graduation. This is what we call credit unit. You all know it when you say, I have some courses in this semester. Some are 2 units, some are 3 units, some are 1 unit. What you are trying to say, those are the credit units that will be added together cumulatively to arrive at that 120 units. It doesn't have to be 120 units for like when you are done with all the courses you want to do. It's not like once you get to 120 units, you should not register any courses again. No. Sometimes you get to that 120 units even from as early as 300 level second semester, depending on how many electives you've been registering. Now, the credit unit, that is the worth of each course that you register in every semester. For this Bio 101 for an information technology student, it carries 2 credit units. So which means if I should register this course alone and I pass it, out of the 120 unit I'm looking forward to, I have gotten 2. So I have 118 to pursue. That's number 1. So what we are going to do now is, all through this my program here, semesters, I have electives, I have core courses, but at the end of each semester, you see we have the total credit units that semester carries. And mind you, you should note that every semester you have opportunity to register a maximum of 24 units, which means in one semester, you cannot register more than 24 units. Let's start from there. If I can register only 24 units in one semester, I believe my calculator is visible. In one semester, I can register 24 units, and I have 8 semesters in the course of my study, which is 4 years. So let's do this. Let's assume I register 24 units every semester times 8. That will give me 192 credit units by the time I'm done in my 400 level second semester. That is what this means, which means if you make sure that every semester you are completing 24 units in your course registration, at the end of your program, which is giving you a 120 minimum credit unit, you have gotten 192 credit units. Now look at it. Let's see the difference. You earned 192 credit units, and the minimum that you need for graduation is 120. You had 72 extra credit units. Now that is not bad. But let's see how I can work on this 72. Now, this is what you are going to do. These are the courses I have. Now, let's take it one by one. I want to calculate the total credit units I am having in each of these semesters. I want to calculate them one by one and see the number of courses showing on my portal. How many credit units are they? I'm not separating electives yet. Both electives and core courses showing for me to register per semester. In this, my first semester, I have 25. 25 plus, let's go back to this. In my second, yes, my first semester on the level, that is 25 units. In the 100 level second semester, 17 units. So plus 17 units, that is 42. And you can see that in this particular program, up to 100 level second semester, we don't have any elective. It's all core courses. It may not be so in your own program. Your own program may be showing up to 5 electives as early as 100 level first semester. But not to worry, we'll explain that. Now, let's move on. In my 200 level first semester, I have 22 units and I have only 1 elective, which is fine. So we'll add 22 units to what we have before. In the second semester of 200 level, I have 25 units. plus 22 units, that is 47. So let's add 47 to this. So we've added 200 level. So if I have registered everything religiously to 200 level second semester, it means I would have earned 89 credit units out of the 120 I'm looking for. Whereas I still have 300 level and 400 level. Now let's move on. In my 300 level first semester, I have 19 units. And in the second semester, I have 22 units. So we are going to do this. We will say 19 units plus 22 units. You can see that even in my 300 level, I have gotten to the minimum credits required for me to graduate, but that doesn't mean I will graduate in 300 level. Fine. Now, let's continue. In my 400 level, first semester, I have 22 units, and second semester, I have 16 units. So this is what I'm going to do, plus 22 units plus 16 units. This is 168 units. Okay. Now, 168 unit means that I have 48 extra units that I have done above my minimum credit. Now, don't forget that it is minimum. It doesn't mean that it is 120 you must hit and graduate. But they're just saying for you to qualify for graduation, you must at least have gotten to 120 credit units. Fine. Now, what is the role of elective courses? Now, let's do something. You know what we did now is we just calculated everything, both elective and core courses. Now, I want us to do something. We are going to remove, this is what you have to do yourself on your portal for you to know how much elective you will need to register. Because some of your programs, the core courses, when you add the total sum of the credit unit of the core courses together, it will not give you that 120. It may give you something less than 120, which means in order to meet up the minimum credit requirement, you must register enough electives. That is the work of the elective. In order to meet up the minimum credit requirement, you must register more electives. Now, that is number one. Okay, in my 100 level, nothing, no elective. So elective start from 200 level first semester. So I have one elective here, 3 units. So let's add, I know that I have 168 here, right? So let's start adding the electives together. I have 3 units here, that is 3. Here I have 6 units, 2 electives here, that is 9. Here I have 5, that is me 14. Electives carries 14 here so far. Here I have 3, that is 17. So I have 17 credits units from elective. Here I have 6, which will give me 23 altogether. And in my final year, I have another 6, which will give me 29. Which means if I did not register any elective at all in this my program, let's remove 49 from 168. So if I remove 49, now did you see something now? I have 119. Which means if I do not register at all, I must at least do one elective for me to get to the minimum credit required for me to graduate. Can you see what we're trying to say now? Only my elective courses added together will not be sufficient for my graduation. Only my core courses added together will not be sufficient for my graduation. So I will need electives as extra legs to meet up my graduation requirement. That is the work of the electives that we're talking about. So, but I will not, because of saying, since I need 120 and my core course is alone at 119, so out of all the electives that are showing in all the semesters I'm registering, I will only register 1. And I know that once I add that 1 to this one, I'll get to 120, and I don't need to stress myself. Well, it may not be bad, but let me tell you something else. There are some electives that are very important in the sense that they are prerequisite courses. For instance, if you check look at this now, this MTH281. Now, this is what you have to study about electives for you to know which one, even if you've calculated your core courses and it's up to 120, which means even if you don't register your electives, you are still safe. But due to the new portal policy, you know that prerequisite courses cannot be jumped, because if you jump it, when you get to the next one that is a continuation of the course, you will not be allowed to register that one. So look at this level now that I'm doing MTH281. There is another math which is also elective, which is MTH282. Look at it here. So which means you have to watch out for electives that are continuation. So even if you will not do any elective at all, make sure you do those ones that are continuation. Maybe your 100 level, you have one elective, and you check your 200 your 100 level second semester, and you notice that the elective you did in first semester, there is a continuation of it in second semester. What happens there is that you must do the first one and the second one, but you can't do them together in the same semester. Oh, I need to excuse myself. Let's continue. So, what you need to watch out for is, under the electives, is that if you have any elective that appears to be a continuation of another one, that means you have to register the first one and the second one. So even if I will not register any other elective among all the electives I have here, that MTH281 and MTH282, I have to register them. That makes them almost compulsory for me to do. That is how you know electives that you must do. The one that is in form of, that is a continuation, as part 1 and part 2, you have to do them. So if your credit unit for core courses is sufficient for graduation, that means it makes up your 120 or 144 units, depending on the one your statement of result is showing, you are good to go once you register the elective or electives that are in form of a continuation that has a part 1, part 2. So how do I know how many electives to register? Let me give you a form of summary. First of all, log into your portal, come to see all registrable courses. Those are all the courses you are expected to do before you graduate. Calculate the core courses. Check the core courses with your minimum credit requirement for your program. If it's 120, if it's 144, anything remaining, you must source it from the electives. So the deficit that you have when you deduct the total credit unit for the core courses you have all through your 4 years from the minimum graduation requirement, whatsoever is left, that is what you must do in electives. Then in the choice of electives, you have to select those electives that are in form of continuation first, like that has part 1 and part 2. Like for science students now, especially computer science student, no, infotech student, when you have MTH281 and MTH282, you must do the 2. Both of them are electives, but you must do the 2. Now, it's not a must. Let's also bear that in mind. It is not a must. If you also have electives that are in continuation, if you know you don't want to do the second one, then don't register the first one. Because once you register the first one, you must register the second one. Or if you know you want to register the second one, maybe you find it simple, you must do the first one. So to escape those electives that are in form of continuation, just don't register them. Maybe you should choose your elective from other electives that are free, that are not tied to each other. In that case, you are not under any what do we say now? It's no longer compulsory for you to register one particular elective. So you have to do a thorough analysis of your portal in order to choose or to know the one to choose among the electives. The electives are there for you to help you meet up your minimum credits requirement. The only error you should not make when registering is if you know you don't want to do MTH 281, which is an elective, 282, which is an elective, then don't register MTH 281. It's also an elective. Those two are tied together. That is a point you have to be very careful on. Aside that, once you calculate your core courses, whatever is remaining, ration it across electives. Select elective across your semesters that you use to meet up the remaining credit units you need for graduation, and you are fine. So whether you see 7 electives in one semester on your course list, it doesn't matter again. What you need to do is first calculate your core courses, then you will know how many electives you will need to do to meet up your minimum credit requirement. And I hope that this video will help us, to clarify and, overcome all these confusions and all these doubts about electives. So if you find it useful, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.